2026 at 6 p.m. I have the Mayor of the Day essay winner here with me. Do you want to state your name?
Samuel Moore.
Samuel Moore. Samuel Moore is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please rise. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Nice job. Samuel is going to read his essay, but first, he had mentioned for Mayor of the Day that he would always start every meeting with a joke. So, do you have any jokes for us?
Sure do.
Make it clean. Just stay up here a little bit so they can hear you on the mic. There you go.
Today, at the bank, a woman asked me to check her balance. So I pushed her.
You do have a better start than me.
Two fish were in a tank. One turns to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Huh?
Those
Nice.
are great.
Them are good,
Two
though.
better ones than I would have come up with.
I might use one of those.
Yeah, I liked them. All right. You want to read your essay?
Should I stand up? Or?
Sure. Then everybody can see you. These monitors are kind of high here. We'll just try to stay close so they can hear you.
If I were mayor for a day. My name is Samuel Moore. I am 10 years old. I live in a 10-acre hobby farm tucked in the woods of Oak Grove. I have 6 siblings, and I'm in 5th grade and homeschooled. I have many great ideas if I were mayor for a day, but here are only some. Beginning with, I would open every city council meeting with a joke, which you have heard.
Yep.
The major of my ideas involve long-term suggestions and plans. My house is right next to the beautiful Cedar Creek Conservation Park. I would put some scenic walking trails around the park, and maybe some mountain biking trails as well. There are so many wonderful parks around Oak Grove, so I would make some paved trails connecting all of them together, which would allow you to walk, bike, or even rollerblade from park to park. One of my favorite things to do is to play sports. The sports I find most joy in are ultimate frisbee, football, and pickleball. There are already plenty of places to play football, which I am very thankful for, but there are only 2 pickleball courts for all of Oak Grove. I would scatter more courts around Oak Grove. May I suggest one on the Rum River Ridge Park, which I live near. Some may not know the sport ultimate frisbee, but it is my favorite sport, and I would love to make an Oak Grove community youth frisbee team. Lastly, the city of Oak Grove doesn't have a lot of festivals. I thought it would be exciting to have a fall festival, which would have hay rides, pumpkin carving, apples, and etc. It would also be fun to have something like Pioneer Days, with games, prizes, a dunk tank, and maybe even carnival rides. Being Mayor Samuel Moore would be exciting and a great privilege. Thank you for involving me in all this and spending the time and thought on my proposals. Thank you.
Nice. Nice. 10 years old. Yeah, you will be the mayor here someday. All right, we're going to go down and take a couple photos here, and I got a certificate here for you. Okay? So,
One question. Who would you put in the dunk tank?
Probably William.
Okay.
My brother there.
I was hoping you'd say the mayor. But
Well, why don't you go on down? I'm going to try to get these other 4 to come with us. So they complain a little bit sometimes about the photos, but let's get them. Let's get us all in the photo. Mike loves photos. Mike loves photos.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Come
Go
on.
ahead, Samuel.
Hey, Sam. Here's a certificate for you to be the mayor of the day. And we'll shake your hand while you hold it, and we'll look at the camera there. Congratulations. All right. I also have a $25 gift card, Dairy Queen, for you. Okay. I don't know if it will buy enough for the whole family here, but it should at least take care of you. All right.
Awesome.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Did
you
want
so
any other
much.
photos, or did you guys want a photo with them? Or no? Yeah.
come on up here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough for Dairy Queen.
No,
No, that's like
That's like one peanut
Let's
butter.
go to McDonald's and get an ice cream.
one peanut butter crust.
Come on up if you want.
You want us in here or you want us out?
Sure, why not? Let's get you up front. There we go. Jacob,
Plenty of room.
get your own.
Rob. Okay.
Rob, lay down.
Go ahead, yeah.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Mike's pretty tall.
Say cheese.
Jeez. Vikings.
Let's just do one with their
All
immediate.
right, yeah.
One with
You guys can get one too if you want to. Yep.
Oh, me too. Won't be in the picture.
I need the Oak Grove in the background.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. Stick around as long as you want or leave or whatever you want.
Wait, here's his, want to hang on to this?
Thank you.
That's got a good joke on it. I was gonna take that.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for coming. And don't feel you need to stay. Some of these are more exciting than others.
Florida, CEO, that female.
Let's give them a couple seconds to clear out here before we move on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Good night.
thank you. We get emails from him all the time, at least I
Isn't that
do.
old Tony that used to be the head of the PPOU before?
No, that was Tony Grigo. Or
Oh,
something.
Griego, yeah, that's right. Then I wouldn't know who that is. That's one
All right. We'll get moving forward here with the meeting.
of my source.
Oh,
All right. I guess we're to a roll call now, Lauren.
Councilmember Wiley.
Present.
Councilmember Tradewell.
Here,
Mayor Rolfe.
Here.
Councilmember West.
Present.
Councilmember Bray Johnson.
here.
All right. Does anybody have any announcements? The only one I have today that most of you here probably are aware of, that black book in the back has everything that we have before us. And also, I should put this here. View that on our website as well. So thanks for coming. All right, setting of the regular agenda. Is it time to either add or delete or approve what we have here? Lauren, any changes?
No changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Tradewell, second by Councilmember Bray Johnson. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Public forum. It's an opportunity if there's anyone here that wants to talk to us about something that is not on the agenda. I'd ask you to come up. Doesn't look like we have anybody. All right. Approval of council minutes dated January 12th, 2026. Unless somebody sees a problem or error, look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Wiley. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Tradewell. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Acknowledge of Planning Commission minutes for January 15th, 2026. We don't need a vote on that, but did anybody have any comments? No? All right, consent agenda. Our city administrator is going to put a list of items up that we're going to vote in all in one motion, unless somebody, the council, staff, or the audience wants to pull one. Once we get that up there, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve A, B, and C.
Second. Motion by Councilmember West, second by Councilmember Wiley. Let's wait for it at least to get up there quick.
We ain't gonna get up there quick.
Doesn't look like it.
You could read them quicker. There you go.
I know, there's not many on there today.
A, B, and C.
Claims and accounting.
All right, those are the three items there. So it doesn't look like anybody wants to pull any. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Chief, we're up to you already.
All right, I'll give you the quick update. We interviewed one new
applicant. We'll get him going through the process. ArtSafe had a class yesterday. I wasn't updated on how many attended the class. We attended a graduation party for our graduation ceremony for Eric Powers. He's now been completely through the Anoka Fire Academy. We attended the Anoka County Fire Protection Council meeting. Our RMS money subscription should not go up as much as it does. It should only go up 1.5%. Oh. We'll find out more in April, which is all good news. And then I have the final run report for the year. To round out the year, we ended up with 701 calls. For the month of December, we had 54 calls. We had 11 structure fires, 1 illegal burn, 1 smoke investigation, 29 medical incidents, 6 were heart attacks, 2 strokes, 2 difficulty breathing, 3 gas leaks, 5 public assistance, and 4 carbon monoxide detectors to leave us with a total of 54 for the month. So the rest are medical calls. Any questions?
Illegal burn, I assume that was illegal stuff being burned?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
That's
it's winter time.
typical,
You
yeah.
shouldn't.
right.
Yeah.
And we're still just educating. Yeah, for the unless they're frequent flyers.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, does anyone have any questions?
Anyone?
Why not? I'll ask one.
All right.
So, Chief, when you go out to CO2 alarms and fire alarms too, I suppose, what do you do other than use your gadgets to see if it sniffs out any?
Right, we try to identify the problem, and if we find a problem, we always notify the homeowner and educate them to get, if it's a smoke detector, to get an electrician in to fix the problem, and if it's CO, to definitely notify Centerpoint to get someone out to repair it.
So, do you notify Centerpoint right there and then?
Oh, yeah, oh, definitely, and then yes. Tell them not to go in and definitely not to use the appliance and stuff like that, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious on what exactly you did when you got those type of calls.
Right, yeah, because we don't want to leave the city.
Right, on something like that.
Right,
And obviously, if you identified where it was coming from, like the furnace or the
Right.
water heater, that helps. But if you don't identify where it's coming from,
and
it could be a
again,
faulty alarm.
right, sometimes we don't find it, but we definitely tell them to figure it out. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Should people be calling 911 or should they call Centerpoint directly?
Definitely, if there's a problem, call 911,
I got scolded.
yes. If there's a gas leak, the first thing you do is call 911,
If you suspect a gas.
yes,
Okay,
And get out of the house.
perfect. Thank you.
yes. Do not try to mitigate it,
Yeah.
you can make it worse.
Yeah, I hear if you got a gas leak, you can usually find it with a match.
It's been rumored.
It's like,
Anything else?
We have a resolution for you,
Try
Chief.
that at home, people. Don't try that at home.
No.
We have the Alida agreement.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Anything you need to know? Is that just for them to hang
They've
out?
been doing our in-service for many years without receiving payment. There was a little confusion back in 2020. We were working through the process and some contracts never got signed. So we've been getting that service done at a real reasonable rate.
0.
I talked to Lauren a little bit about this just a few minutes ago. And said it looks like it's going to be about $25,000 a year for that.
11,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. It looks like it's,
That's quite a difference.
yes.
Talking about 2 years.
And it's going to come out of your training budget.
Yes.
So, do you know offhand how much we've been giving them the last couple of years? I know the contracts weren't.
Significantly less.
Okay. So, how's this going to affect your training budget for next year?
It-
Going to be coming with your handout next year for that?
Yes.
You looked at other places that you're going to be cutting that training budget now? You know how we are.
Possibly. Or possibly looking for an increase.
We'll
You
talk-
don't really want to cut training, is what I'm trying to say.
We don't want to cut anything.
Right. with a young department, we maybe need to increase training.
We can certainly talk about it during budget time, but yeah, $11,000 per year is what the proposal is for.
And Rob, sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Rob, does that include the fees for both the services agreement and the medical?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay.
Do you understand it? You read.
I did read it, and I had a question on it as well. It clearly the services agreement says $11,000, and then there's seems to be a quarterly payment in the medical services one of $1,500, and I'm just not sure what if that rolls.
Is an addition to, or
Yeah. So the question. So please answer the question, but also I just want to point out. So the resolution that you have authorizes staff to negotiate a final version of these agreements, including sort of any of these tweaks that we need to make to the budget. So
Yeah, maybe we
the
should.
important thing is I don't want to set that said it's 11,000. We approve that, but then actually it's 17 a year or whatever it might be. So that was just my question.
Are you asking if that's what we want you to do? Or who are you asking the
So I'm
question
asking.
to?
I was asking Rob, but if they told you it's 11,000,
That's the way I read that the all encompass was 11,000. That's what I understand it
Okay.
to be. So
and that's a reasonable way to interpret that. The contracts kind of mesh together, but also kind of don't. So that's why I wanted that clarification.
Okay.
If they're saying it's 11,000, we understand it to be 11,000. That's the amount that we'd be approving for tonight. And if it was more than that, because Alina didn't have a clear contract, then we would have to work through that, and that's something.
Shouldn't we
could
just
easily
get
do.
clarification of the amount?
I read it as $1,500 per quarter for 2 years. That's $12,000. Total fees for 2 years, quarter billing on billing schedule, $1,500. That would be 8 payments of $1,500.
That's right. So then there's the two separate agreements. There's one that has the total services and fees, including training supplies and medical direction, at 11,000. The goofy part is that they put the medical services in a different agreement. That's the numbers I'm looking at is on page 37.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got down to it. That can be paid in a quarterly amount of $2,750 or an annual amount of $11,000. So I would say you're looking at 4250
I think
per
we need
quarter.
clarification.
Yeah.
we better
I
get-
think you're going to need clarification. Right now, it looks like
We have
4,200.
fairly smart individuals that
What
are
I-
all confused. I
Yes.
think we need clarification.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
We
What
can come
about
back.
the additional services on page 6,
You got me.
billed at $75 an hour for instructors? Under additional services.
that would be if they brought in any special instructors,
Okay.
which they never do.
I don't think it hurts to
Okay.
have clarification of it.
No, it does not hurt.
I'll make a motion to put this on hold until we get clarification of what the
I'll
real
call him.
number is.
I'll second it.
I'll call them tomorrow.
Thanks, Rob.
It doesn't hurt. We can bring it back 1st of February.
Sounds great.
So a motion by Councilmember West, second was Mike, by Councilmember Wiley. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes 5-0. Yeah, it seemed like it was just another one of those contracts that could be spelled out a little more easily. But
And I know that contracts are made to be broken, according to our
Oh,
county government, but I don't like to do that, so.
no.
anything else, Chief?
I don't think so.
All right, thanks again for
Thank
picking up
you.
the mayor of the day, kid. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, Chuck, we're to you. Consulting engineer.
Oh, I didn't even see him over there.
Been here longer than you.
What did he pop in?
You got here on time.
Wow.
He was here before you.
Well, our closed session, he was not there, so sorry.
No worries. I
Totally didn't see you. All I saw is those two. Wow.
He's here now.
Well, can you hear me? Oh. Okay, good. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. First item I have for you tonight is we're seeking your approval of the plans and authorizing us going out for bids For the 2026 street improvement project, we're looking at base bidding. The neighborhood just southeast of Lake George, kind of north of 207th. There's several roads within there that are in pretty rough shape, and so that's why we're going to base bid that. And then we're going to alternate bid the two areas of Zion Parkway, the north and the south, that we didn't complete last year for budgetary reasons, and then try to figure out what's going to happen with land adjacent to that. And but this way we'll bid it out, we'll get prices, and then decisions can be made on how best to proceed. And then also there's a neighborhood, a couple neighborhoods east of Nightingale that are going to be improved as well, along with some trails along some of the roads back there. The again, we're bidding several alternates and a base bid, and so don't be surprised when the engineer's estimate right now is 900,000. We know we're looking at more at 700,000. So, but this will just give us information and make work with staff to make a recommendation on how to proceed once we have actual numbers.
Is there really any talk, Lauren, to the south part of Zion, of anything in the near future? Or maybe it's time to just start moving forward with that? The north part, I still think, being that there's some communication, we'll call it, going on there, maybe it's worth...
Yeah, they had a proposal probably 3 years ago now, maybe even 4 years ago, and that was not received well. St. Francis, in terms of connection fees, they withdrew their application, had no interest in developing at that time. I think I did reach out to them while we were negotiating our renewal with St. Francis, and I did not hear back from them. I have not had any contact with them in quite some time.
I just don't want to hold that part off forever. The north part makes sense with kind of what's going on right now.
I'll try to reach out again just to see if they have any plans or what their thoughts are, but I don't have anything right now.
I think it was a good decision on all of our part last year, but I don't know if we can continue pushing it out. But
Yeah,
if
and then
we can, then we shouldn't have done the other part already. So, but just
what
worth looking into, I guess.
So what I anticipate for the north is that they were, if that proceeds on the west side there, that there would be some sort of cost sharing. We did replace the curb on the east side last year, so
Yeah.
that's been taken care of.
Yeah, no, that one makes complete sense. So, anything else before we?
No, I guess unless you have any additional questions regarding the.
Nope, I'd make a recommendation to approve resolution 2026-028 for the 2026 street improvements bid authorization.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Tradewell, second by Councilmember West. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any updates?
Yes, I have 4 of them.
Wow.
So, first one deals with Seeley Brook Bridge replacement. As you recall, they were going to do it last year. They bid it, they awarded it, but then turtles got in the way, so they had to delay it. And there might have been some timing of just materials too. I don't recall all that. I say that, but the bottom line is they are going to start March 9th, and it'll be a full road closure till the end of February. And so we'll
Did you say March?
You mean
9th or
February 9th or March 9th?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's like it's almost a year.
Yeah, March 9th to the end of April then.
Okay.
So March and April, pretty much.
Yes.
Wow.
End of April.
They're going to shut down 47 that long?
47 or 7?
Seven.
I thought it
I
was
thought
7.
that was,
7.
oh, I thought it was on the other side.
No, so it'll be 6 weeks.
Right
It'll
at
be,
2
That's still a long time for 7th Avenue, too.
yes, it is. And there, essentially we'll post a detour on the website as well, and as well as the county will. The county's isn't up yet. Yours might be already updated. But, the official detour will be Viking to 47 and kind of around that way.
Are they going to use, what was that, 200 and... Is that...
217th?
Yeah, 217?
Yeah, they're not using that.
Okay. That's what people
That's not,
will use.
that's not a part of the official
Okay.
detour, so we don't want trucks and,
So we'll tell our police officers to sit there.
yeah, but people I'm sure that know about it will use it and with their navigation software and everything else, but we'll try to do what we can to encourage the detour route and have out-of-town folks use that.
So beginning of March to end of April.
Yeah, 6
March
weeks.
9th. Yep.
Hopefully they can be a little more efficient than that, but we'll
That's
see.
like Seventh Avenue and like 219th. Is that what
Yeah.
somebody said?
Yeah, it's between 218th and 219.
Just on the
But-
south side of 219.
19 and 18 are dead ends.
Got it. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
It's the rainy season.
2 months better. Sounds better than 11.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
could be some high water flowing through there.
Moving on, a letter's been drafted and we're prepared to make an offer to purchase an easement on 221st in Raven. So that'll go out this week, and then Matt and I will follow that up with an in-person meeting with them. So more to come on that, and that is reimbursement eligible through your state aid funds, provided your attorney's okay with it. So next we have the PCA has submitted a draft MS4 stormwater permit, and that's out for comment until February 13th. And there are several items in there that we think the city should comment upon. And I'm looking for, your concurrence, and I'll work with Lauren on that. Basically, the county has a full-time environmental person, and she's gone that quite thoroughly. She's developed her comments, and then she's shared them with all of the communities within Oak Grove, and so we'd build upon that. Essentially what it is, there's concerns about increased design and right-of-way requirements. If you have to do more stuff in the right-of-way, that makes it more difficult to get trails, and costs associated with increased design. There's budgetary and scheduling impacts that are of concern. Just integration with other permitting that's a little bit inconsistent or not clear. And then there's some additional maintenance and long-term obligations. And then, we're just, in general, there's just, more costs and items for communities to do. So the PCA, again, will take those comments. They're not going to respond to them, but they will consider them in their final draft.
They won't respond, but they'll consider.
Yep. So hopefully, if there's enough people commenting on the same thing, that they'll take that information, because projects are already costly enough, and it's hard enough to get trails and everything else fit into these right-of-ways and things. So we'll see. And then finally, I believe, the FEMA addressed a letter to the mayor, and that's, they're going to be doing some additional floodplain mapping within Anoka County, and including Oak Grove. And there's really nothing that, we have to do here per se. But they're required to notify you whenever they do these new studies. And they give you 30 days, or until, they give you till February 23rd to respond with any questions or comments. And, flood elevations will likely change for, in particularly those areas that haven't been studied yet. And so, so that it may increase, the flood areas, but it'll be better information for property owners, and, having, more defined and more, better information to work with when they're developing land or building houses and the like. So as we, it'll there'll be other chances to comment, and, you know, if we come across other major projects that may impact the floodway or whatever, we'll share that with these people tasked with doing the new modeling. And then eventually, once all that's done, then, you know, we'll have to update your maps. You know, you'll get the shape files from them, and your online maps will be adjusted accordingly. So I don't know if there's any questions there at all.
Doesn't look like it. Not this moment.
Okay. And then I do have your concurrence that Lauren and I can get something submitted as far as our comments on that MS4. I mean, there would be an opportunity there. I could run those comments through council. I don't know if it's necessary, but if you wanted to see that, your next meeting is the 12th, and these comments are due on the 13th. But do I have my dates right?
I thought it was the 9th, but is it the 12th?
Well, do I have my?
Yeah, the next meeting is the 9th.
Okay, so there would be a little, so you would have that whole week, but, you know, a lot of it's a little bit insider baseball with, you know, talking modeling and, you know, some of those requirements, so.
I'd say if you have it, and those that want
Wanna
to
buy
dive
it?
deep into it can, and those that maybe don't want to, I guess that's their choice. So
Okay,
it doesn't hurt.
all right. That's all I have this evening for you, unless you have any questions for me.
Anything for Chuck?
I've got nothing.
All right. Well, thanks.
Thanks,
you.
Chuck.
Hey, Chuck.
Nice to see you.
It's gonna stick around. There's the planning stuff later on in the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Not a planner, but I play one on TV.
Right. All right. City administrator updates and discussion items. I'll let you take it from here, Lauren.
City attorney.
Oh. Yeah, you are here, aren't you? I didn't see him there.
We wore the grayscale. You know, we're blending right into each other.
Sorry to you.
People often mix this up. I get it.
You actually had stuff tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry about that. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no. In addition to the special
Press the
session,
wrong
the
way.
Alina contract, I just wanted to confirm we are actively in these negotiations with Comcast to get the franchise finalized. You will see that coming back on one of the next two meetings. I also wanted to convey we are, you know, hopefully here at the end of our DNR related saga. I was able to send out some final documentation on that on Friday. So hopefully we will have more updates in the coming days on sort of finalizing that process and moving on. So we'll give you a more comprehensive update when everything's complete. And then the other things that I'm here for are part of the administrator updates. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Now, city.
All right. Now we're up to you, Lauren.
The first item is for Resolution 2026-029. This is for the comprehensive plan proposal from MSA Professional Services. This is for the 2050 comprehensive plan update that the city is required to do. Basically, every 10 years, the city has to update its comprehensive plan. Last time we did this was 2016. I did have this in the packet at the last meeting, and we talked about it briefly. Also did bring it to the Planning Commission last week, and they reviewed it as well. They are okay with the proposed scope and schedule. I know they want to get moving on that project, get as much of it done as we can this year. The proposal itself, two notes. The city is eligible for a grant from the Met Council for this, and it looks like as an unsewered community, we're eligible for a $25,000 grant to help offset the cost here. So we will make that application.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-029, 2050.
I'll second it, but I got a question.
Yeah, I do too, but we'll go. All right. So we got a motion by Councilmember West, second by Councilmember Wiley. Further discussion? Go ahead first, Mike.
Lauren, you said unsewered city. At what point do we become a sewered city? Because we do have sewer in our city. Obviously, it's a small amount. You know?
I'm speculating here, but I'm guessing when you connect to the Met Council sewer system.
That would make sense, I guess.
Because just looking at the list of unsewered communities, the other three that are listed there, Ham Lake, Now then, Linwood Township and Oak Grove, those are the only 4 that they considered unsewered. All the ones that are listed under their sewered ones, they are all on the Met Council sewer system, larger
So
communities.
St. Francis isn't connected to the Met Council
St. Francis,
because we're connected to theirs.
They're not hooked to the.
No, they're on their own.
Are they on their own?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
They
they
don't
are
have
on their own, but I guess the Met Council does consider them to be sewered. Most of their city is sewered.
Okay. It was just a curiosity question, actually, so no big deal, but, okay.
My only
Percentage.
question, Lauren, is we're obviously not the only city, and this isn't the first time this city's ever done this, but if we're looking at possibly 18 months out, the 3 of us here, none of us can guarantee that we're going to, be up here when the election comes, because it's really up to the community how that's going to turn out. So if, let's say there was a new mayor and 2 new council members, and they don't like any of the ideas that we have been working on for a year, I'm assuming that's starting back over with more fees and all of that. So the question I'm getting at, is there a way, and this isn't trying to slip something through or anything, because we right now are the people who represent the city, that it can be done within a year, or is that completely wishful thinking?
I think we will do our best to get most of it done within 1 year. Certainly, all the public engagement is scheduled for this year. That's a big component of it. There's always going to be some back and forth with the Met Council, regardless of who the council is at the time. But I think the public engagement part, it's important to get that done this year, and that is the plan.
But the work might be done by the end of the year. But then, like you say, it's you
There's
send
a
them
lot-
this, you make an amendment, you make a
A lot
couple
of back and
word
forth,
back and forth. But,
Especially if you're providing any type of pushback or you're not doing exactly what they want.
but I think by then,
One of the things we have to do is send it to affected jurisdictions and agencies. So that's all the state agencies, our neighbors, and I don't recall the exact time frame, but it's at least 60 days for each of those to look at it.
Yeah.
So that takes a long time to get through that process.
Took us like 2 years, Chuck, didn't it, for the Upper Rum to get ours done?
Yeah, that was a little more challenging though, but.
Yeah,
than
but-
this would be. And the thought is that jumping on this early, hopefully they'll get, more quicker
Yeah.
responses from the agencies and everything else. It'll go through the system faster if we start earlier, so. That would be the goal. I'll make note of that, make sure the planners know that.
And if
Anything
they
we can
can't,
do
they
to
can't, but-
condense.
Yeah.
Right. I just know the planning commission's eager too, so.
Yeah, no, and I think if for some reason the council looks different a year from now and they want it to start over, you're probably looking at a new proposal.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, hopefully the new council would, kind of go along with it
Yeah.
and say, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
Wouldn't spend a lot of money on small changes.
Right. No, I'm just glad that everybody even staff seems eager to get moving forward versus dragging our heels for a while. So.
Get done with it.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion? We have a motion. We have a second. Was there any further? No. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
The next 2 resolutions, 2026-30, authorizing contract with an interested officer, and then 2026-031, awarding contract for access control and security for City Hall Fire Station are related. The first one, as the council knows, Integrated Protection Services.
Systems.
Sorry about that, Systems has been, providing access control, security cameras to the city for many years, even prior to Councilmember West's election to the City Council. This basically allows us to continue to contract with IPS for the city's existing systems and maintenance, repair, replacement of those. And then the next one is specific to the new equipment that will be installed at the new City Hall and Fire Station building. And in that one, I did go out and get 3 quotes for that, and then put those in the packet. Fair distance between all 3 of those. Integrated Protection Systems was the lowest, so staff is recommending that you award that to Integrated Protection Systems. In addition to this, there's some other things that Councilmember West will have to do as a council member and as an interested officer of the company, so he will have to file some affidavits before submitting payments for this work.
I'll be abstaining from this.
Yes, he must abstain from the vote.
What I like, Lauren, is one, just for transparency purposes, John, his company's done a nice job here, but we're not talking a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. We're talking some real money. So just for those at home that don't have everything in front of us, or in front of them, I should say, can we list what those totals were to show that he was the lowest? And I would assume he wasn't aware of the other bids, what those totals were.
Correct.
And I can, while Lauren's looking that up, I can also just hop in. It was my recommendation that we kind of put this as part of a more formal sort of process every year. Just makes things a lot easier. Not that there was, anything that we were looking at otherwise, but just wanted to make this formal every year thing that we just do as part of our annual meeting. But so just to put that context in this as well.
Right. And I personally support it. I'm going to vote in favor of it. I just think for transparency purposes, we should throw these numbers out so people can see that, there actually is significant distance.
It's a good idea.
Yep, absolutely. So Johnson Controls, their total proposal was $313,475.15. Gephardt, the second highest was $215,090, and then Integrated Protection Systems was the lowest at $174,780.76. So almost $40,000 between the lowest and the not, so it wasn't even close.
Right. So skipping over John's company, all we're doing is spending at least $40,000 more. So there's definitely a savings, and he's provided good service to the city. So.
Well, he's providing it before becoming a council member.
And our numbers were in prior to the other two.
Yep. Yeah, and it was done as part of the normal process for a contract estimated to be between 25 but under 175. So we followed that process. We received the bids. No one was aware of the other, not bids, quotes. So that's the sort of normal process, and we followed it here.
And all three, put their proposals together off of the same plans and specs.
No, I believe that we did everything right. I just, again, for those at home or those in the audience, I want to make sure they realize that we dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and there's no favoritism going on here. So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Are we?
Oh,
And I was gonna do both at once.
Separate.
I would, if you wouldn't mind for these ones, just do these ones
Agree with
separate.
one or the other. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-030.
All right. Motion by Councilmember Wiley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bray Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Yes.
am I reading wrong? Mine says 2025-031.
030 was the first one.
030, so shoot.
Go up to page 52.
Oh, it's just in the wrong order. Sorry. I'm good.
All right.
Theft.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention?
Aye.
All right, so motion passes 4-0 to 1.
Then I'll make the next motion for approval of resolution 2026-031.
All right, motion by Councilmember Wiley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Ray Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 to 1 with Councilmember John West abstaining from both votes.
This is the wrong number.
All right, any other updates?
Just a couple items. As you know, the city did reach terms on a purchase agreement for the ponds land. We did meet with the purchaser last week, and he already has a concept plan. So he's going to come to the Planning Commission in February to present that, and then he would make application for approvals at the March meeting. But basically, he has a 27 lot proposal utilizing Zion Parkway, and then kind of a road heading west and then north to a cul-de-sac. He's proposing a park in there. He saw that on the concept plan. And I think that was feedback we did receive from the residents up there, is they would like to see more parkland. So he's proposing a park in there in lieu of park dedication fees. He is going to have to do some fill, but to minimize the amount of fill he's doing, he is proposing to leave some of the pond area as a pond itself, as a water feature. So a lot of these houses would be walkouts, lookouts, to look at the water feature. So a nice concept. And then that will be before the planning commission over the next couple months.
There's nothing we have to ask St. Francis for, right? We have their approval for like 40 or 50 more systems to hook on.
Yeah, so the original agreement in 2019, 2020 contemplated the city would be redeveloping this and selling it and developing it. So it was in that proposal to allow these to connect, and it continues on in the renewal that we had with the new agreement.
Will it be the pressurized, or will it be all gravity fed from there?
We are trying to get it all gravity.
Yeah, I think it's
You think we
ultimately,
can?
there's gonna have to be some some pressurized in there. If we can get it gravity, by gosh, we will.
They're looking at a couple different options right
Cool.
The Planning Commission did meet last week, and they also reviewed a proposed multi-tenant building north of Deja's daycare at the intersection of 7 and 22. Believe that person will be making application in the next month or two.
Is it a multi-tenant building?
Yep.
Yeah,
Commercial?
commercial, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Kind of sharing a parking in between the two of the buildings would be one on the north side, one on the south side, and you drive in and
Of Deja's.
yeah, correct. Yeah, Deja actually owned that to begin with, and she was going to sell it. She did.
I think we approved a daycare on that, and they never moved forward with it, and they sold it at some point. I think this guy's held it for a year or so. Now he's ready to move forward with the plan here. It's an investment for him. He owns some businesses over in East Bethel. A couple things he did mention, people that have IUPs that might be looking for a commercial space, be an option for them. He did indicate he had some interest in cannabis businesses. I did let him know what the city's restrictions were on that. Also discouraged him from anything that would require a conditional use permit at this point. Stick with permitted uses, get your business up and running, prove a track record, come back to the city if you need to get conditional use permits later. So I think he'll be moving forward in the next month or so. Couple notes on upcoming meetings. The next meeting on February 9th, the deputies will be here that are working on the contract this year. So meet the deputies. Rum River was scheduled for tonight for their building permit fee amendments. I've moved that now to the February 23rd meeting is when they will be coming back.
Bless you.
Anoka County is working on some regional planning amongst their regional parks. I'm sorry, not regional parks, but parks along the Rum River. They asked if the city would be interested in that planning, and I said yes. So I don't have more details than that at this point, other than I said we would be interested in that. We do have Rum River Ridge, or not River Ridge, River Meadows Park along
Bless you.
within the city limits. So I'll have more information in upcoming meetings on that. That's all I got for updates tonight.
All right.
Mayor and council.
Mayor and council. We are going to continue on with our ordinance of the month discussion. We were kind of got started off well, and then some stuff just took a little more time. So I think now we're trying to kind of get back on track with that. I know this one in particular, we're talking about interim use permits for home occupations. I know Lauren sent out a list. We have quite a few in the city. I don't know if there's anybody up here who's against them. I think it's just, again, one of those trying to educate ourselves on an ordinance and maybe making some changes, maybe not. I know I had received, or was contacted by an individual that had mentioned that, they didn't say names, I don't know if they're talking about me or somebody else, but that a couple people were like not interested in allowing this anymore. I told the individual I don't think that's accurate, but unless you guys have said something to somebody. But so I don't think we're looking to repeal this. I think we're just looking at education and maybe we want to make some tweaks. I looked it over myself, and I'll let you guys start, but there's a few things I think to consider. But I guess that's where we're at. Does anybody want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll
what
start.
your thoughts are?
I'll start. I am for the IUPs, and I just don't want IUPs to take advantage of that option. And I think that as of late, we've had a few that are like really big, impacting the neighborhoods from noise standpoint or from a traffic standpoint. I just want to make sure that we're approving IUPs that are good for the city, and not just anybody can get one. They don't have to pay for commercial space. They can build a pole barn and have 50 employees and tons of trucks and stuff going up and down residential streets. That's not the intent, in my view, of what the IUP is supposed to be, right? If you want to start a business in your home, it's residential, great, but you can't impact the people around you. And that was the only negative thing that I had to say about IUPs, and maybe some of that phone call was based on that conversation that we've had in the past. But I am for them, certainly. I just want it to be fair to the city, and we need to do a better job at allowing IUPs that fit in a residential atmosphere.
Well,
That's my take.
Mike always says that. He goes, we're residential first. And unless you're in a business or an industrial park, that's second. So they always have to be put first. And, it isn't that you don't want to let people do what they are capable of doing on their land. It's residents first, then business second.
I think it's commonsensical, but maybe I'm wrong. And if I am, and you think anybody up here thinks that what I said was incorrect, I would love to hear your feedback and talk about it.
All right, thanks, John. Anybody else want to share anything?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. Years ago, when we first started keeping track of these, everybody kind of did what they wanted in the city. I mean, we didn't really keep track of these 20 plus years ago. Corn was the mayor at the time, and one of his big things was the impact of usage and stuff like that. And he always pointed out, this is residential, it's not commercial. Talked about the out of sight, out of mind type of businesses and stuff. That's what we were really looking at originally and stuff. And it's grown past that, obviously, because there's a lot of them that aren't out of sight, out of mind, which I think is fine on certain lots and whatnot. But one of my big concerns is having checks done on these properties, not all of them, but some of the businesses more often, such as, you got a mechanical shop. They're doing a bunch of mechanic work. What are they doing with their antifreeze and oil and things like that? If you go to Tony's or any of the other ones that are on the major roads that are in commercial areas, they got to go by state rules and regulations of how to dispose of this type of stuff. Nobody wants to see somebody that's a bad actor and pouring this stuff out in their back 40, especially when we're all sitting here on wells and stuff. But that's my biggest concern is, yes, some of these things aren't checked for a long time, and we should be checking certain types of businesses maybe a little more often and paying attention to what requirements we're going to have on them getting rid of their hazardous material properly and stuff.
Well, to your point, there's fire safety code, there's occupancy issues, there's things that, it behooves us as a city to make sure that we're not going to be held liable for something down the road. So I know that, your team goes, Rob, you guys look at commercial spaces, annual basis. Do you do any IUPs?
As they come up for renewal, which now is about every 5 years, so they are checked a lot less frequently than the commercial and industrial businesses in the city.
Yeah. That's a long time, 5 years,
Unless there's a complaint in between. I mean, the city will do an inspection if there's a complaint, but if there aren't any complaints, it's basically at time of renewals when they get inspected.
And then within the 5 years, it's typically done.
Yeah, some of them.
Well,
Whatever's been done is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
and of course, we want to make sure people are getting rid of this stuff and not storing it on their land.
Yeah.
if they do have a fire, we've got a fire department that's gotta go there and put this fire out. If they don't know what's there, or,
Never know what's in the pool.
right, or they think it's a lot less material than what's actually there, they could be putting themselves in a hazardous way too. So we gotta think of the safety of those people and stuff too, but. So I think for things that have more hazardous type of materials, I think we should at least on those.
Increase the frequency.
Upping the frequency of when we come out there. And, and then there's fees and costs to that and stuff. And, if you're doing a business, you should pay for these fees, not everybody else in the city who's just using a residential neighborhood. Fees can be figured out later on how much they're gonna cost.
Right now, the fee is initially $300. Within a year, you pay $100 to renew it, and then the renewal is 105 years later. So
Yeah.
basically, in 5 years, you've paid.
But
$500.
inspection fees and things like that too, and, it's.
Yeah, we're not charging for that right now.
Yeah.
Just,
And
the city
that-
hasn't
that
changed that
costs.
fee in a long
Whereas
time.
like Tony or whoever else, they gotta pay you to get,
And really what we're doing is we undermine other businesses that are in commercial areas because
to not go to
they're
commercial.
not getting all these breaks.
Well, that's what I mean by my comment of, they're taking advantage of the city in this way. I mean, commercials, an IUP to me is you're starting a business and, you got some years to grow to get to where I can afford commercial space now and move to commercial space. I was in that same scenario. And commercial space is expensive, but it's great to have those years in IUP where you can, start earning some money and getting some revenue before you have to, start paying.
Right.
the
When it's a
piper.
small business,
Yeah.
mom and pop little shop that they start in their basement, or if they get bigger, then they go out to commercials.
But to your point, if I had an IUP across the street from Tony and I was a mechanic, right? How would Tony feel about that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There's
It
enough
puts.
people to go around.
What's that?
My opinion, if how Tony would feel is there's enough people to go around. There's businesses next to businesses all over.
Yeah, I think that's a true statement, but I think the part that rubs them, maybe have had a conversation, or maybe not, but is all the fees he has to pay per year to be allowed to run that business. He said, where if I'm running out of a pole barn, I don't have all those fees and associated, you know what I mean?
Well, the
So
taxes alone.
taxes alone, but you take that even above that, right? And he's somebody who pays taxes in the city, and so he has made, that's his big, he doesn't care about, like you say, there's enough business. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, for him to run his business is maybe $40,000 a year, and for someone out of their garage it might be $20,000 or $15,000. He's like, well, everyone should just run them out of their pole barns because it's cheaper.
That's
So-
and again, that's the choice that he made to have commercial, and that's the choice someone had to have a small operation on their
Yeah.
property.
But we should treat them,
Because we're allowing that choice.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
well, the only thing,
Well, allowing, it's my property, and if I abide by,
But there's ordinances, and we're
Yes,
allowing it by
yeah.
having those ordinances in place.
yeah.
Having an IUP.
I just think that the rules should apply regardless. I mean, if you have to contain antifreeze in a way on your private, that's all I'm saying is, and then what Mike's comment was about you just maybe some more of more frequency, maybe every other year, every 2 years. I don't think it has to be every year, but like he said, a lot of them go out of business or they leave. But then we have some long term. I know a great mechanic up the road, and he does everything by the book, but what does it hurt to go in every other year? And yes, I think they should have to pay for that inspection, but they're saving a lot of other money by being in their home, so it's kind of give and take. But you're right. If they're living within the rules, I good for them.
yeah, and
So
I guess I look at it as if somebody would like to operate a business on their property in their building, again, like John said, the neighborhood impact. If you have semis coming in and out of your house all day long, no, I don't want to hear that. And also the environmental impact. If you have a business that could potentially affect the environment, like antifreeze or oil, then yes, I think that there should be more inspections. Besides that, if you want to have a business on your property for the rest of your life,
yeah, like
That's
wood,
awesome.
wood
Yeah,
making
yeah.
or something like that, and you make.
Meets the requirements, but
Yeah, we have another. Yeah, I make stuff for the church, and he does it right out of his shop, and his.
Yeah.
But it's just him. So.
I mean, like I made a post about this on Facebook, and there was plenty of people that have these IUPs that we're saying, you know, I have a concrete business. I don't hurt my neighborhood one bit. I'm very responsible with it, you know. And I think, looking at the list, I believe most of these people are. However, there is obviously going to be someone that slides through the cracks. So I'm all about making sure that the environment is protected
Yeah.
in this.
And a concrete guy, he's going to drive out in the morning. He's going to come home in the evening, just like you or I who work outside of our homes. does it.
And to recap it, it's just, I want to make sure there's no impact. Most of these are great and they're perfect, but I think that when you start impacting the others around you, then that's something different. And I don't want people just to take advantage of the city. Hey, Oak Grove can do this. Let's move up there and build this pole barn and throw a bunch of trailers on the property. That's not the intent, in my opinion. It's people starting their businesses, working from their homes, but not impacting the people around them.
It is zoned residential, it's not zoned commercial.
Yeah, it is. However, we can start a business in our home, and that's the beauty of living in America and having those freedoms, as long as we're not hurting our neighbors or the environment. I mean, that's
Like you
living
said,
the
the
American
neighborhood
dream.
impact and the environmental impact is the only thing. Only thing I'm
Yeah, I mean, I
needs to
agree.
be in check.
Environment is where I'm concerned. Yeah.
It's not like the days of putting the drain oil out on the dirt road to keep the
No.
dust down.
Right, like we used to do.
I never said that.
I mean, I didn't, but I know people did.
Dads did.
There's two things just to focus this conversation a little bit. Under the section 109-195, letter B kind of talks about home occupations that don't require an interim use permit. So there are some criteria there. If you meet those, you can operate without an interim use permit. I don't know how many of these we have because they don't require a permit. I'm sure some of the IUPs that we get fall under this category. Most of the ones that I've talked to since I've been here can't meet one of these requirements, and then they have to get the interim use permit. Letter C then talks about some of the parameters that when an IUP is required or what the requirements are. So if there are certain things, maybe it's environmental or certain types of businesses that you do have concerns about, maybe some language could be amended or added to either of these two sections. If you had concerns with what isn't requiring one, or if there should be more or less restrictions on what does require one. Those are two sections to focus on.
I kind of feel like before I start rambling, all four of you are basically saying the same thing, just maybe a little bit differently. I mean, I could probably get behind that if you, since Tony's has been kind of the main point of discussion here, even though we're not really actually
Hypothetical
talking
example.
It's a hypothetical.
even though we're not really exactly talking about him. But if I had a house across the street and I built a pole barn, and there might be enough business to go around, that's true, and there probably is. But is that fair that he has to go through all these hoops of inspections and fees, and he already pays way more in property tax than I do in my pole barn, but yet you inspect me once every 5 years for, would you say, $100 or whatever it is? And I think the $100 is for the overall thing, right? I mean, that's the fire and that's everybody and you doing your part and all that. I think that's, whether we change it or not, I think that's at least one of the talking points that we should talk about. Again, whether it changes or not, because I don't think, again, anybody's against any of this. I truly think the four of you are basically saying the same thing, just maybe a little bit different. But my thing is, overall, I think the ordinance works. I like that we allow people to do this. There are some people who probably have moved to Oak Grove and bought a big property to do these things. Whether that's right or wrong, there probably is some truth to that. Between my years on the Planning Commission and the council and this current position, I tried to look back, and I think I've only ever voted against one. And some of them, it wasn't like unanimous. So it was all about allowing people to do things. The only one that I can think of based off my notes, I don't want to call out the address, but on 7th Avenue, one of the more recent ones, and I wasn't against the business being operated there. I was against the manufacturing part of it, even though it was a small part, being outside and creating noise. And we had residents here that, I don't know if they were so much against the business there as they were concerned about the noise.
The impact.
Right. And so, you know, when we talk about this stuff, I've always kind of used the out of sight, out of mind, and I'm glad Mike brought it up. You know, previous Mayor Corin, he always used the level of impact, and I think those are two good things to kind of always consider. Before I ramble on a little bit, I do have one question for you, Mike, that you might be able to answer. In 2008, if you can go back that far, there was a moratorium put on interim use permits. Do you recall why? And do you recall what changed, if anything?
I'm not positive, but I think that's a time period when we had a lot of businesses in the city operating. We wanted to start getting information for them and give them time to register and stuff like that. I think that's why.
Okay.
But like I said, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure if that was the exact reason, but.
Right. And the only reason I
Sure
even
that was
remember
the
it
reason.
is it's when I moved into the city and wanted to do an interim use permit, and they say, actually, we have a moratorium on it right now. Do you have anything to add to that one, Lauren? I know I didn't ask you that ahead of time.
Yeah, that does predate me. I'm not aware of that, but I can look into it.
It's not the end of the world. But like I say, I have a couple notes here. It's not anywhere near as long as I usually ramble on. You know, I'm good with continuing to do this. You know, I have one myself. I mentioned that already. My big thing again is the out of sight, out of mind is I don't think it should be the main focus of the property. And I know we have a few in the city, and what is happened, it's done. We're not looking to make people change this. I just think if you have, you know, 5, 10, 20, 30 acre property and you want, you know, a larger business that may be more of a level of impact, but yet maybe you're on a busier street, like for example, the one off 7, I'm not against it. I just think it shouldn't be the main focus of the property. I'm not interested in, I know manufacturing might be a big word for that example that I'm sharing, but I just think, again, if you've got 100 acres and nobody knows what's going on and you're not bothering anybody, maybe it doesn't matter. But if it is a smaller lot and it's near property lines and all that, I just think that already we're allowing you to do it there. Maybe it just somehow needs to be inside, or 90% of what you can do at your property, but that one thing you might not be able to. Because even though we always focus a lot on property rights, the other neighbors have property rights too, you know, and I think it's trying to find that happy spot there. You know, the hours of operation, I don't know, looking through this, if we actually have legitimate hours of operation, but maybe that's something that we should consider. I know the Planning Commission does consider it, but if you've got 6 diesel trucks that somebody's picking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, well, that might create issues for your neighbor that, you know, maybe they don't get up that early. But again, I think it's just something to consider.
I think that is a factor in those decisions. We've had them come up
True,
many
but I
times.
think we've been kind of loose on them.
Yeah.
To be honest, but or at least I think we have. But you know, the other thing is once we allow somebody, and this particular property that I'm talking about, how do we now go to the next person and say, well, he can, but you can't? And so I just think we just got to be a little cautious of opening that door.
I think sometimes the location dictates it too, but
True.
maybe as we approve those, we want to be more specific on why something was allowed
Right.
in a certain location.
Right.
If you're on 7th Avenue in a pretty busy area anyway, or some other street that has already commercial right nearby,
Right.
something might make sense there where it might not make sense if you live on the south side of Lake George.
In the middle of the ponds.
Right, or in the middle of the pond.
Yeah.
And I
Well-
think it's hard to really change the stuff that we have already and put down, well, we're not gonna limit this, this, and this, because it is so, it just depends on where you're at for it. Some things would be allowed. And it, hours of operation. Right now, we do it individually, you know, planning and zoning works that out. if I have an accountant deal or tax preparation deal in my house, why does it matter if I'm working past 6 o'clock? You'd never even know I was there if I didn't tell you.
True.
So obviously, that would be a whole lot different than if I was doing mechanical work and had impact wrenches going
True.
until midnight.
True. I think more what I'm getting at is giving the planning commission maybe a little more direction of what we're thinking. Because your example, the tax thing, you could probably do that 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's
Right.
going to know. You know? But if all of a sudden you're bringing your all your
Clients.
diesel trucks back and
Right.
picking them up
Makes a
you know,
difference.
early. Again, I'm not even saying to change all this, just things to consider.
Yep.
You know, the other thing that we've got some pushback on is street parking, which that was one behind the church. Remember, there was like 30 cars or something. And, I think we did a nice job of basically, really the only thing the neighborhood was upset about is all the parking. So eliminate your 30 cars on the street. I think we gave them 1 or 2 a year, so if he's having a whatever is going on.
Party or something, yeah.
You know, it's funny because it has nothing to do with this, but biggest thing careful how I say it. One thing I hear from a lot of different people is people parking on the street. We live in Oak Grove. We have 2+ acre lots. Why do you need to park a car on the street in the first place? You have 2 acres. I understand in Andover you probably need to, and other places. Why are we parking vehicles on? And we don't even have an ordinance about it. And to me, it's like you've got 2+ acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, 50, and you're parking on the street. Why?
Well, here, I'll tell you why. Since I was on when we changed that rule.
Yeah.
We used to have it like every other city where you couldn't park in the wintertime, like 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock or something like that on the street. Well, somebody was having a Christmas party up in the ponds where they don't have 2.5 acre lots. They were parked on the street.
Oh
An
no, they got a
officer
ticket.
wrote a ticket.
Oh, on
every
Christmas.
car on the street.
Oh my gosh.
And that we changed that thing within like weeks. We changed the ordinance, and that's when we got rid of. We said, you know what? If there's no snow, there's no reason anyway not to be able to park on it.
No, I know.
I get the other part too, though. I
Yeah.
get that part. You're right. You get all this acreage. Why do you do it? But you have just because your driveway's shoveled out. I mean, you don't have the biggest driveway in the world. You got room for several, but you could have a big party with a lot of family. You could have a wedding there in the middle of the wintertime or whatever.
Yeah.
You do need people to park on the street.
I'm not talking about the once on a birthday, holiday, and that kind of thing. I'm talking every day, consistently, 6 days, 7 days a week.
But how do you word that in there and put that?
Well, I think it is worded in there that it's
many
supposed to
days
be
in a row.
moved. Yeah, after every 24 hours.
24 hours. Or
Yeah.
You can still park there every day. You just got to move your car.
No, the biggest thing is you got one neighbor on one side and one on the other, and you come down and it's like, I can barely
I
fit
get
through
it.
the middle, especially in the wintertime
it.
when they're plowed.
Well,
So,
I mean, what if you have a blended family and you all have kids that are in school and you, like your neighbors, the newer ones that just moved in,
Yeah.
their driveway isn't very long.
no.
So what if like they had all these kids coming in they're back and forth, they're,
thing is, you
like on
can't
the
make it
street
perfect
and you
for
can't
everybody.
make
I know.
everybody
I shouldn't have said
come down.
anything.
I think the point really what I was getting at is we were able to find a way, which we've done a really good job doing for the most part, is finding a way to make it work for this person that the neighbors felt was fair. So in that particular case by the church, you can't have 30 work cars on the street on a regular basis.
Right.
But I think again, it's just more or less. I think we've kind of got to over the years of a yes, kind of just stamp. And I think it's just worth at least having more discussion on some of the things. But when I look at section 109.195, Lauren, number 4, it talks about, and this is home occupations. But since you included it, it talks about no exterior storage. Okay. But no garage storage. Like, how would we ever even know if somebody's storing work stuff in their garage or
Yeah,
really
that's-
care?
Yeah.
None of anybody's business.
So this is what doesn't require a permit. If you can meet these conditions, you don't have to get an IUP.
Right. But I'm just saying, if all of a sudden somebody just has some stuff they want to store in their garage, I don't know if you really make them get an interim use permit just so they can store some stuff in their garage. But again, we don't need to change any of this. I'm just giving you a couple highlights here now. It talks about one light commercial vehicle along with a trailer. But about 4/5 of the way through, it talks about that it needs to be attached. So technically, you're in violation if if you bring your work truck home with the trailer and you disconnect it, you don't have an interim use permit, I don't believe, at your house. So I read that as you'd be in violation, but I just kind of look at it as because it's not attached.
Come and get me.
Right. So one, I think we should consider eliminating the garage storage. I just don't think it's all that relevant. And if it's not attached, I don't see that as being a big deal.
It makes me wonder though why it was put in. So the reasoning.
Well, either it was copied at one point from another city, or somebody on that wall or who they served with was upset about it.
I think it was, I mean, I speculated a little bit, but it was if you truly have a very small business, you're just an independent operator and you do it out of your home. Let's say you're a guy mowing lawns or something, you have a truck and a trailer, that's it.
Right.
You shouldn't have to get an interim use permit.
Right.
For that.
You
You
should
don't have
not.
employees,
Right.
you don't have a lot of other.
No, I totally agree, but I'm reiterating that technically you're in violation if it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
attached, like the vehicle and the trailer aren't attached.
So are you saying to get rid of number 4 altogether?
Well, I don't know if we got to get rid of 4, but the garage storage and the truck and trailer having to be attached, I just think,
Wait a minute, what are they storing in the garage?
None of your business.
Well, I mean, frankly,
Middle of the night.
it isn't anyone's business. You know, it's
I think the threshold to not need an interim use permit is pretty high. Most people that are wanting to do this, they end up having to get an interim use permit because they can't meet one of those criteria. You're basically just operating it out of the house, or you truly just have a truck and a trailer.
right. But if I have, I don't know, I sell T-shirts, a lot of them online, and so half my garage is boxes of T-shirts. Technically, I'm in violation of the city code.
T-shirts is one thing, when we have a business here that got kicked out of one city because of the chemical he has them sitting there years.
But that's not, Chief, what this says. It doesn't talk about those types of materials.
I mean, little tweaks like that could be something that we look at.
Right.
Well, and I think the inspection, because you come in and say, "Hey, I'm storing T-shirts,"
But this
and
one
then we don't.
have an inspection.
Right, and you go back, and you don't go back for 5 years, and now you're storing an illegal chemical or a chemical that shouldn't be stored in a primary, next to a primary living space. That you're never going to see it. But if we had a little more frequent inspections,
And this is the dialogue I sort of wanted with this, ordinance of the month, right? But ultimately, I just think for this one, if planning is a little more thoughtful about the business that's applying and making sure that the impact is low, that's really all I'm looking at. And not,
not changing a whole bunch of
yeah,
things.
not change a bunch of stuff. I just wanted to learn more about it, and I think we are. And just give direction to planning and say, hey, let's just make sure we have all the details about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, so we can, say, yeah, this is good, and this is, you need to do this and this to be in conformance, and that's it. I don't want to change anything necessarily.
In their defense, I think they've been doing actually a pretty good job. I mean, and we get to review the stuff
Yeah,
that's coming
yeah.
through and approve it, but
But there's been a few lately that have,
Yeah.
have impact.
oh yeah.
I've, the last 3 years sitting as a liaison for the planning, I've seen quite a few of them come through, and they are very thorough in asking questions. And sometimes they say, you need to go back and rethink this, and this is why. And then the community member will come back with a different plan. And they also listen to the neighborhood impact as well before they make the recommendation. So I think they're very thorough in what they recommend to us.
That's good.
I agree. And I also agree that over the last couple of years, there's been a few that are, I don't know if we would have said no to them, just maybe tweaked them a little bit
Yes,
more.
yeah.
And so to kind of wrap up all my rambling here is really all I was really looking at least for me, is I don't really know if this needs to go to the planning commission, but more or less them understanding a little more, us giving them a little more direction of maybe what our ideas are of the out of sight, out of mind, level of impact, whatever you want to call it. But as I was reading through this, that was really the only thing. I mean, there were a few other things within the ordinance that I was kind of scratched my head on, but those were the two that kind of jumped out at me that I just felt like were being a little orally restrictive with those couple of things. But That's really about all I have to say with it. I'm not looking for any major changes, just, again, giving the council or the planning commission maybe a little more direction.
And if I know Brad, he's going to watch the meeting and he's going to hear all of our responses and, take what he can from this and make changes that he feels are necessary. So
The only thing I would add is it would be nice maybe for, if it is something with chemical related, meaning if you're doing some type of drill presses with oils or automotive, that maybe we increase that frequency of going out there. Other than that, I don't, like you said, mostly just direction. That would be the only thing I could see. I'm not saying jumping up and down and we have to do it. I'm just saying that's the only thing. 5 years is a long time between a check, so maybe every 2 years would be better. But
Would that fall under this, Lauren, or would that fall under more of inspections? What they're referring to, like?
Yeah, I don't think, you could add it into the IUP or home occupation code if you wanted to, or you could just add it to the fee schedule.
oh, that might be an easier way to do it. Yep, and then just leave this alone.
Well, what about number 4?
unhitching of the trailer.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm gonna have to leave my trailer hooked up all the time.
I don't honestly think the city would ever go and enforce these two things, or have the sheriff's office go and enforce them. But why are they there?
Yeah, but if it's junk, it should be removed. If
Yeah.
it's something that we don't think we're ever going to use, and it's just like pushing people's buttons. I would
Yeah,
hate
it
to,
does.
down the road, somebody go, oh, it's not hooked up. You're in compliance, non-compliance. Here's a ticket.
So you're agreeing with me or disagreeing?
I'm agreeing that it should be
Oh,
whacked.
right.
Yeah.
If it's that bad of an eyesore and all that, then maybe it's a code enforcement
Right,
issue.
yeah, exactly.
So,
If you're going to allow a certain size truck and trailer, you shouldn't care if it's attached or detailed.
Right.
Yeah.
because it already defines in here the length and weight and all these other things, so you don't have somebody, I suppose in the ponds backing up their semi truck, and it wouldn't even fit in the driveway anyways. But I can see maybe the intent behind some of this. I just think it's just a little over restrictive. But
Why wouldn't we just have planning take a look at it, just overview the ordinance, and then come back with a couple of tweaks that they think would be appropriate, and that being one of them? Why can't we do that?
That's fine with me.
They don't need to spend, a whole meeting on this, just overview it and,
right, and kind of focus in a little more on
yep.
number 4.
So after the accessory building meeting that they had, when they look at ordinances, they want to look at it as a whole to see if that particular ordinance needs any tweaking. So I just want to remind you guys of that when you're saying just to look at number 4, because,
I said the whole ordinance.
okay. Well, and then someone said number 4, so I
Well,
just
he
want to,
said pay attention to number.
Focus
Yeah.
in on number 4.
Focus on it.
But at the end of the day,
so I
they're
guess,
not
are we
the
just going to,
council. So if we were to say only number 4, which is not what we're saying in this case,
Right.
or
that's
section.
the direction they should be looking at.
Yeah,
Right.
or
Not the whole
section
thing.
109-195.
Yep.
Section
Taking
4.
particular notice of number 4.
Yeah, yeah.
But look at
if
the
we
whole
send it
thing.
to them that way, just because Brad asked for that direction in the future too. Like, if we want something specific, to send it to him that way.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I'm fine
I just
with
want to
that.
make sure the communication's there.
So I think we're not really voting on this. We're just looking for a consensus. But I think the consensus is have the planning commission review section 109-195. Focus in on number 4, but if they feel that some of these other things are over restrictive or kind of obsolete,
Need to be tweaked or something,
then,
that come back.
they can come back with
I
recommendations.
think they'd have some good feedback on that because they're the ones that are reviewing these most thoroughly. So
Yeah.
there's probably some things they've ran into that maybe they want more guidance on.
Right, and I think the other piece of it, even though it's not written down, is just considering the level of impact a little more, I guess. But again, at the end of the day, it's up to us, so it really. I guess
Do you
doesn't
want
matter,
some sort of proposal too for some sort of mid permit inspect, every 2 years or something?
but-
an
Yeah, no,
inspection?
I think for some of these, I think that's fair. I don't know if I have a particular year. What since we keep using Tony's, what is his? Is it yearly or how often does he get inspected? Just so we have a base to start.
Commercial.
Annually, the fire department inspects all of our commercial and industrial properties that aren't home occupations or interim use permits annually.
Okay. So that's a base to start with. Do people want to do annually or up to 5 years? Where do we want to go in that?
Well, I don't think we need to look at everybody's business like that either. We can look at, to me, it's the businesses that are dealing with hazardous waste or high
Yeah.
hazardous chemicals. Those types of businesses
Yeah.
be maybe looked
Yep.
at annually.
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 But everybody else, you know, if they're not dealing with things that are gonna be an issue like that, or most likely wouldn't be an issue, I just think that's getting too,
Yeah, it's the
Open-ended
first,
on it.
basically the first line item, automotive, snowmobile, service machine shops, etc.
yeah, places that are doing fuel and.
But a
oil,
woodworking, you
things
wouldn't
like
need to
that.
look at them, and
Well,
installers.
yeah, that's what I was getting at. I thought we were using Tony's as the example and then something that was similar.
I used Tony's because I couldn't think of another one on a busy road that was a commercial at the time, so that was the one that came to my
We
head.
can go through the entire list, because we have a fair amount of them now. There's over 120, I think, in the city. And we can narrow down what we think you're saying.
If there's
Present
flammable
that
chemicals, flammable caustic chemicals, that would be the trigger, right?
Right.
So which could be woodworking.
I mean, woodworking, there is a case for that.
Yeah,
Is
lacquers
it?
and,
Okay. Oh,
I think
yeah.
of one where we had a fire, where
Yeah.
I think the fire department was out there a week or so before and cited some violations, and
And then they had a
because of
fire?
that, they actually had a fire within a week.
Oh, my.
Well, it was still in correctional.
So would it be fair to have the fire chief and staff come up with what they think would be?
I think
fall
that's
within
I think
that?
he'll
I think
know.
that'd be a good idea, that when they do their first inspection, hey, this should be checked every year, or, you know, every 3 years, or.
And are we going to eat that, or are we going to have the IUP applicant pay a fee to pay our people to
You
come
hate
out
to
there?
add fees, but why, when they're already getting this huge benefit, why put that off on?
Well, all the other
Somebody
taxpayers should,
else.
should.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be, you know, hey, there is some cost to having a business. even at
And
your
it's
house.
$100, which is pretty minimal,
No.
if that's what we stick with. But-
$100.
So, are we looking at
Eddie
number 4 under that one that's under 109-195? Let's see.
Letter B, I think, right? The first page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it says number 4, an interim permit for home occupation shall further conform to the following provisions.
I think,
It's on page 84. Let's see. It's letter C. Number 4.
are you saying, Angie, to have them look at that, or you're saying
Yeah,
to
are you-
stop at that point?
Are you saying you want them to look at that one? Because that's number D. Storage or sales of hazardous substances as defined under Minnesota statutes. Bulk chemicals, petroleum, specifically prohibited unless done in compliance with the requirements of the county community health and environmental service.
She's talking about for the trigger for the 1 year.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
So under C, home occupation interim use permit required. There's a number 4 there also, like
Letter
yours.
D.
And it's letter D, storage and
It's
sales
on
of
page
hazardous.
84 of our packet.
So I think what they were referring to was the page right before that, Angie, 109-195B, number 4, about the trailer.
Yeah, no, but then we were talking about, Lauren, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's
We
okay.
were talking about the hazardous things and if we're going to have them look at that.
But they
About
weren't,
the 1 year inspection.
yeah, they weren't picking anything out of the code. They were just saying businesses in general that meet that criteria.
Yeah. So do they fall under that number,
Maybe, I mean,
Or-
some of them will, yes.
I guess is the question. And is that what we base that year inspection on?
Well, I think just to interpret, my interpretation of D is it's just basically saying if you have those, you maybe have additional requirements and licensing through the county and state that is above and beyond what we're going to do. So, because you see all the way at the end there, it just
Okay,
keeps.
so
The trigger's just going to be
look at number
based on
5. So then is that where we could add it on a year under number 5? Maybe letter A?
I don't think
No,
we're going to
you
add it
don't-
there. It's
that-
going to be under fees, right?
Yeah, I would say that, yes.
Yeah.
On all interim use permits, there's always a standard condition that says the city reserves the right to do inspection at any time for any reason. And that's kind of what number 5 is getting at. I wouldn't change that. I think what you're saying is that for certain types of businesses, they are going to have a requirement to be inspected in between the renewal period.
Well, shouldn't we have that in an ordinance somewhere so that they know that they're going to be inspected annually? I mean, we can't just say it without having it
We
written.
were saying it could be put in the
And
fee
we can
schedule.
add it in the code, but I wouldn't add it there.
Where would you suggest adding it?
I don't know. I didn't give it any thought. We just
Okay.
started talking about
Probably the same area where
the city actually has, like I said, on every interim use permit, one of the standard conditions is that the city can inspect it at any time for any reason. So it's already written into everyone's interim use permit that they could do this. The council's just saying we want to certain types of businesses inspect more than once every 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to. Well,
I mean, I would want to know if somebody is going to come out every year.
And charge
you
me.
know? Yeah, and charge me. Yeah.
for sure. I'm not saying that you wouldn't. I think they've just asked us to develop a list at this point. We can bring that list back. If the council's good with it, we will notify all those businesses, hey, there's going to be a change.
Yeah.
Rather than getting inspected every 5 years, they're going to get inspected every 3 years now. And it's going to cost X amount of money.
I think what Angie's saying, which I think we all could agree with, is this might be the right spot, it might not be the right spot. Is someone, when they're originally applying, they know that the city's going to inspect it.
Oh, yeah, for anybody
Yeah.
applying.
Yeah,
they
hey,
should know.
I meet this criteria, and I'm gonna get inspected.
It should be right on the application.
Right.
That's where it should be.
Yeah, a checkbox
It should just
between
be upfront.
For these
No.
type of businesses,
Yes,
you will
exactly.
get an annual inspection and the
of this much.
And this
fee
is how
chart of
much.
fees or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, right on the application.
Yep.
So
All right.
they know.
So
It's
just,
not on the application because we don't have a special application for it. We use the same land use permit application for everything. But it is on the approval document for every IUP in the city.
Okay,
We can be more specific on it.
yeah.
Yep.
so just to recap, the planning commission's going to look at 109-195, focus in on B number 4, but kind of review everything and see if there's any other recommendations to clean it up a bit. Sorry. The fire chief and staff, they're going to give us a recommendation of which ones they think should be inspected, and then I guess we'll kind of take it from there. And Lauren, somewhere you'll find a place that we can indicate the.
Yeah, if it needs to be in the code.
Right.
There's already language in here, and I think this language is in there specifically because it gives the city broad authority to do an inspection on these businesses at any time.
Right.
Maybe just
Wanted-
an asterisk, but these types of business will have an annual,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. Any other comments on that? Or I guess that could just be added to the planning commission schedule at some point?
Yep. we
No,
will
it's
add
good.
it To the planning commission for
I
further
like it.
review and discussion. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, where is here now?
Council goals.
Council goals. I don't know if I brought this up last time or the time before. I feel like maybe somebody was gone, so maybe I'll just chat about it just real quick, because we all definitely have things that we'd like the city to work towards. Most of them, I think we all are on the same page normally. But I'm trying just to try something new this year to help, and this is nothing against Lauren or staff, but help to keep them kind of focused on the things that we're really wanting to have accomplished. I thought I spent some time with Lauren coming up with some ideas. I have a few more to add. There might be, hopefully everybody's got a couple, unless they're already what Lauren provided is what you're feeling good about. Things are gonna pop up throughout the year. We all know that. But, you know, like one thing in particular, it might not be the number one goal, because I think the number one goal this year we probably all could agree on is the building being done and staying within budget. But I know, you know, Mike's brought up a couple times, and I agree with him 100%, is getting this east side gate situation of Lake George done. So I think if we can come up with, and maybe it's a work session that we just spend an hour of saying, okay, these are the top 20 things that we'd all like to do. What are your top 10? You know, because maybe there are the ones that are we need to do, and then the ones we'd like to do.
I like the idea of a work session for that. I think it's important to spend some time on it, to prioritize those, you know, get a consensus from all of us where our top 10 is or top 5 or whatever it is. But knowing that building is,
Right.
Yeah,
that's
number
the
one.
biggest one, because that's the biggest financial impact
Right.
of any of these goals that we have.
And I just think with giving Lauren the list of things, he can send it out to all of us so we all have some time to process it, and then hopefully we could have a work session like literally in February. Because if we push this thing out to April, May, June,
Right,
here
yeah.
we are again.
Budget season.
But again, it could be a long list, but we got to be realistic with the staff we have and so on and so forth. So I think this was sent out the last meeting, but I printed off.
Yeah, we discussed it, and then the minutes captured a lot of the stuff that I said.
Okay. And I think a lot of those are good. Some of them are, probably really quick things. Some are going to the 2050 comprehensive plan, could take a bit. But I do have a few, but to add to the list for consideration. But does anybody would like to go first with any of your thoughts? And again, maybe the first meeting in February or the last one at the latest, we can have this list and have some time to process of what we think is our priorities. And then at the work session, we can really come up with a plan.
Yeah.
But again, I'd like to do it sooner rather than later because we're already almost February. So,
But Lauren, you think the first part of February is too soon, or?
No, I mean, we can do the work session whenever I'm ready for that. I'll just say I'd like to keep the list smaller rather than larger because those first three are major time commitments just for this year.
Yeah.
right.
10 seems like a lot. This
I
year.
was just throwing
Yeah.
something out there.
5 with a few alternates.
Yeah, and I mean, I've shared what mine were, but I obviously want to hear from the council too. The building, I think, is first and foremost, right? That's super important.
Yeah, I think we all can agree on that.
The second, the comp plan, that's a requirement that the city has to do. That is going to take a lot of extra time this year. The future of the fire department is very important. Chief Engler, we know, closer to being done than the long term, so we do need to figure out the succession
situation.
plan for the
Yep.
fire department and the fire chief position. I think that needs to be one of the first ones we tackle. The comprehensive plan, the other, I mean, a couple other ones too. It's an election year. We got to get through an election with new staff. That too takes a lot of time with elections, early voting. You guys know how that goes. Just a couple things that I think we're already working towards. 2 of these is selling that city-owned lot on Viking Boulevard, selling the Ponds land. We're already well on our way to the Ponds land one, which is great. There is an interested party in the Viking Boulevard lot for an auto repair business, timely, given what we were talking about earlier today. They have not come forward yet, but they've expressed some interest. Those are just a couple of the big ones that I think are very important for this year.
Right. So again, we got to be realistic, but I think if we can at least get what our thoughts are on paper, and some of them might not even be a lot of work. It's just kind of what the goal, I don't want to have a 10% levy increase, things like that is kind of what I'm getting at. But do you have anything, Angie, that you want to at least add to the list for consideration?
A few of these are what I had already thought of. Well, I mean, all of them really, but
Or I should say additional ones.
the only other thing was, when we're talking about the City Hall and fire station, what are we going to do for the park out here? People have been asking that.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would like us to also add on.
Kind of goes hand in hand with what are we going to do with this building?
Yeah, that was going to be mine.
Yes.
That's one goal we should start talking about is
Yeah.
the disposition of this. I mean, there's
Other than that, no, I'm good.
everything on there's so many important things on
Yep.
the list already that anything that I want to add seems petty. So I don't
Kind of small.
Well, small things that I really want to take care of the big stuff, and I want to be successful with the big stuff. The little stuff, that stuff can come up as the year goes on if need be. But if we can focus on checking off a few of the big things, then I'd feel more likely to add something, another pickleball court or something like that, right? I just don't think now is a good time to be talking about something like that when we have a $10 million project we need to get across the finish line.
Of course, something like that comes out with talking about this site and what we're going to do, because that might be fitted into.
Right.
I mean, when we look at how to develop this land or what to do here,
Yeah.
you know, pickleballs to me would make sense over here.
Yeah.
Center of the city, a lot of people come here, so it's pretty easy for
There's
people.
people
to,
there all the time.
So it's pretty easy for people to come up and do it and stuff.
Yeah. But, you know, talking about that, so, you know, where the funding's coming from, you know, are we taking this entire building down or just part of it?
Right.
Or, you know, there's a lot of discussion just about this. So the stuff on that list, add this thing to it.
It's a
There's
big list.
plenty on the list.
That's why I think it's partially of the high important things we got to deal with, and then the ones that are down there that
Maybe
we may
could
get to
be.
some, we may not get to some. But I think we're at least moving in the right direction. But and some of them, again, they might be an item on here, but it might be something that's pretty quick to do. But
Yeah.
Paul,
Do you have the boat launch from Lake George on there? I don't have that list in front of me. If not, I think that's important for one reason. We already have money invested in that, and we should finish that up before.
I think we talked about that.
I wrote it down
Maybe
only
survey
because
said
you
that.
said it.
Yeah,
So
I think it was,
Not 'cause
you guys
it's my
talked about it at
idea.
the last meeting, too.
Yeah.
I mean, and that shouldn't be a real.
we need to
complicated-
finish what we started
Yes,
there,
in that,
regardless of how big our list is.
And that's not a big
No.
financial
come
cost.
come this spring, I believe, when they can get to it, it will be marked out and we'll be able to move
Just gonna mark
forward
the
with
property
it.
lines, yep. If
Yep,
the city wants
just
to
get it
develop an
done.
act or a policy on the gate, that, it's not a lot of work, it's just.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so
That's a
it's
simple.
a little thing, but I think it's important,
Yeah, it is.
especially since we already paid for the survey and everything, and before stakes disappear and everything else.
Yeah.
right.
And plus, we get everybody to stop bugging us about, everybody wants something different there, well, get it done.
So, Lauren, I guess if you want to add that one for our list to talk about. But I'm with Mike. I think we're so close to the finish line on that one anyways, we can get her
Right.
done.
It's-
but-
Yeah, it'd be silly if we waited another year and didn't get it done. It's like-
And I've told some people in the neighborhood, and you probably have too, that we're on it and we're getting it done, so. we probably
Well, and it's
should
almost
just-
done. It's already made a difference, and so let's just finish what we started. And
Yeah.
Anything else, Mike?
My other thing would be, I want a very small tax increase next year, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not even have a tax increase.
would it be? Well, we kind
Be
of
nice
went
to have a
negative this
break
year.
for one, you know, and kind of
Yep.
keep that levy increase down. And I know it's gonna be hard to do, but I think it's important to give everybody a breather.
Okay. Paul,
Well, yeah, make me the last one.
I'm last.
Everybody?
No, because like that list is so long, and I just wrote down some of the stuff I saw in there, and then as they were talking, and so it's all on that list. So
Right. And so maybe again, it's a list, Lauren, that these are like really the musts. These are we'd like to get to, and these are the ones that we just need to get wrapped up, like the park. And I don't think that one is going to take. It might take Public Works a little bit of time, but I don't foresee it taking staff here a ton of time with how far we already are.
Figure out
into
the
it.
plan and
Right.
implement it.
My only things, again, for consideration, I like John's idea, the ordinance of the month, but unless we get to some that are a little more simple, I'm wondering if it would be something that we want to do like every other month, only because we continue to talk about these contracts that we have with Abdo and Chuck and all of them, that maybe we could try doing, you know, like the ordinance of the month, and then the next month we do more like one of the contracts.
you're talking about service
Go-
contracts.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've talked about this a couple times, but. I
It would
think-
also give planning, sorry to interrupt, planning time to,
Yeah.
if we give them direction, they've got a little headspace to get.
I was almost going to say just we should shoot for a goal would be to
Once a
review
quarter?
4 a year.
Once a quarter.
Because I think that's fair, because we say something, it's got to go, you know what I mean? And it takes about 3 months to do something on one.
But there could be some that are easier. It could be
Yeah.
like what you brought up tonight. And I don't think any of us are saying we want to change it, but part of it, when John brought this up, was for education for ourselves. So when you mention, why do people park on the street? Well, we don't always know why they do, but what is the ordinance on that? And maybe it should be more restrictive, maybe less, maybe there shouldn't be any ordinance. But I think some of those are pretty easy too. I think we've tackled a couple of the larger ones, but I think we owe it to just the people in the community here to look at some of these contracts instead of just every year it's increase.
But we're also educating them as we're talking about it too, so they're getting the same education.
Just as long as they don't take it wrong, because we're talking about stuff, it doesn't mean we want to change it. We just, we did it for educational purposes, because we've got rules that we don't even understand.
Yeah.
Well, even like-
Ordinances that we don't
And
understand.
even like the one tonight, I think it was good dialogue, and I think we actually are maybe going to make it less restrictive
Right.
than it is. So,
I think
sorry,
we should
go ahead.
continue with that once a month myself. Because some months have been skipped anyway because a council member wasn't here. So it doesn't turn out to be 12 a year anyway.
Right.
And I think if we slow it down to 4 a year, we might end up doing 2 a year. And I think it'd take us forever to get through.
or
any
maybe
amount
some of the
a
other
year.
ones are a little easier.
Right, and I think a lot of them would be, like the one I brought up about the house, the smaller size houses, and stuff. Not tiny homes, but the fact that we have a limit and you have to build this big or higher.
Right.
It shouldn't take that long to talk about that. and stuff.
And we should make it a little bigger for the tiny home, just a little.
Well, and yeah, another thing, that which it shouldn't take
Oh,
all
that.
kinds of meetings for things like that. Things would be
ADU.
adjusted.
Yeah.
Yep,
I think things like that would be
very quick
pretty quick
conversations.
conversation, 15 minutes probably and stuff. There's not a lot of research to be done
You
anyway.
know, and if there's not a lot of appetite, move on.
Now, I do think that you're right on looking at some of these other costs and stuff. I think we can still add them in there, and just when you want to schedule one of them, let's do one.
And I think, Lauren, too, when we have this work session, I think you got to be honest, too, of like, how long does this take staff to come up with some of
Yeah.
this stuff, too? Because I like what everybody's saying up here, but just trying to be realistic, too. And if we can do it, great. I also plan to, and this isn't really anything that's going to, I'm probably going to do it either way, but these are just some of my goals as well, is to get our state, county, and school officials, or at least from the school district, at least one, to come to at least one meeting again this year like they did last. I'm going to continue to invite the county people.
They're afraid
Sheriff's
of
about
us.
50-50. I know he's got a lot going on, but the ones that directly represent our city, these county commissioners, I'm going to push them harder to come to just one meeting a year, just
Yeah.
one. So,
Shouldn't have to beg.
right. And so, Angie, actually, if you would like, again, Lauren, this isn't really a goal, it's just kind of my goal. I don't mind reaching out to the school district, but if you're like the liaison
Yeah,
person,
certainly
you
can. I
want
was
to
gonna-
cover that part. The state ones, I might wait till they're more back in session and all that, push that out, but I think the school could probably do it anytime we don't have that, conflict. So if you want to work on that, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I absolutely will. I was going to ask you about that.
We talked about the CIP accounts for items. I know this is something.
Oh, yeah, I put that on there.
Paul probably likes that. Maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like we do a lot of, well, let's throw a little there, but I don't know if there's actually really good science behind what we're doing. So something to look at. Election stuff, I want to continue moving forward with that. Like Mike said, I would like at a maximum of have like a 2% levy increase, which would be great if the tax rate would then go down. But I'm pretty confident that the sheriff's contract's going to be at least 5%, which is about $50,000 right there. And if we are considering a full-time chief or different things, that's, I think it's going to be there. So,
In a jail.
right, but I'm talking just for the city part here. But I just know that we have done a really good job, and previous councils have too, trying to keep things down. But I think we can just continue looking at it and see if there's some areas without completely, let's not put anything in the CIPs anymore, because we learned that's not helpful.
No.
When we talk about the property here, it used to be that a lot of people are always talking about trail connections. I still hear a little of that. Nobody ever talks about building a park outside of the Ponds neighborhood. But this pickleball thing appears to be getting more and more popular. And the two complaints I've heard is, one, it's on the whole other end of the city, and two, it's always busy. And so I think this is, again, part of the project here. But maybe we put in 2 or 3 of them, but not the individual one. Maybe you do it like a lot of places do. I know why we did it over there, because we did one at a time. And we can wait till the building's done, but you know what? There's a nice piece of property right over by the ice skating rink that I don't think we'd want to put them right in the middle of all this anyways, because maybe it goes back to soccer fields or I don't know.
Well, that's why I brought up the old pickleballs inside the rink.
Right, or maybe something like that. But I guess I'd rather, not today, but start moving forward on that a little more, because I feel like I tell people all the same thing. Well, eventually we're going to do something, and but at least that one, I don't think there's a lot of work with city staff of figuring it out, because we've done some, but I would like to get the park commission on board and get their 2 cents of, what they think. And I mean, they're there for a reason, so I like to use them.
Yeah.
We just bought our
Did you?
paddles.
I've done it a couple times.
My only thing about that is when you start looking at, the ice rink or this or that, you start putting things in here and here, and pretty soon it looks pretty piecemeal in how you get to it. We might want to plan the whole site and, hey, get a planner basically and just say, okay, these are the things we want. Of course, we got to decide what's going to happen with this building, which would come before any of that, because that can make a big difference on where you're going to have soccer fields or the other stuff. I mean, so maybe we should put this building into the discussions beforehand.
Right.
And so we know what we're going to have for land availability and stuff.
Right.
I'd like it to flow, when we get out, if we're going to spend this kind of money and have the place flow and, meet the citizens' needs and stuff. Not just look like, oh, yeah, okay, way down here this, way down there that, have a little more plan for it.
So, maybe that's one that's towards more the beginning of the year versus the end. Because even when you talk about the building, whether staff would really have to sell me on keeping any of this building. I'd like to just demolish the whole thing and be done with it. But there might be worth keeping one or the other parking lot, on one side or the other. And I'm kind of thinking the north side, because on things like Election Day and all of that, I don't know where all these people are going to park in this parking lot that we're putting in. So you might have some overflow, but then like everything on here that Lauren has, I agree with that. And the fire chief situation, I don't want to put that off till, let's worry about that in the fall. I'm hearing he's stick around for 2 or 3 more years, but so, and that, is there somebody internally? Is there not? All that stuff takes time. So, but I'd say, Lauren, unless somebody has something else, maybe you can kind of put that list together and send it to us, ideally even like a week at a time, so we can start maybe prioritizing what we think might be worth spending time on sooner rather than later. Chuck?
One thought I had is, Randy did a space needs study, right? But that was just for the city, staff and fire department. If he could maybe brush that off, include public works, and then that would help determine how much or if any of this building you want to save.
Right. I just think no matter how much we save, if we do, it's going to cost more money too. But it's not like you just cut this part off and you're good to go, And if the building is, cold storage, I get it. That's a little different, but
Yeah.
Pretty flat here, this is like a nice pickleball court here.
oh, there you go. Indoor.
Indoor pickleball court.
Yeah, full of mold.
Well, like the fire garages down there, cold storage, that could be something if we needed it, but.
And just internally, we've only talked really about some of the cold storage and maybe for sheriff substation and Alina, but most of the building, we agree, should come down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anybody have anything to add to the list? I guess you can always email Lauren, he can update it. All right. Anything, Mike, before we close out? No. Paul?
I'm good.
Angie?
Yeah. So as you guys know, I missed our last meeting thanks to my battery dying on my Jeep. So I apologize for that. But I did want to say in regards to our new assignments for this year, I was honestly a little disappointed when I first heard the change, and I felt at first it was because I had spoken up at the planning meeting, but then I thought about it, and I really appreciate you, John, saying that I would probably really love the fire council. And thank you, Weston, for saying that I would enjoy the school boards. And Mike, thank you for saying that I would not want to be accounting with the Rum River watershed, because that's the last thing I would want to do.
I didn't say that.
I didn't know that of you.
I said I didn't
you
know
like
whether
numbers.
you would be interested in doing that because
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no. So, thank you guys for putting me into those roles. And I went to the last meeting with Rob, and there's a lot to learn. And with fire, it's a huge, there's a lot to it, which I had no idea. So, so I just want to thank you guys for that. And I'm excited for these new roles and to reach out to our school board as well. And then the other thing that I don't know, we probably don't need to have this discussion right now, but I did talk to Lauren before about our YouTube and the retention of our videos once we completely make that transition from Granicus. And it doesn't sound like they'll be retained for very long. Once we make this Granicus to YouTube change, whenever that happens. And I mean, I like to be able to look back. Like, I had somebody ask me about something, I don't know, last year or the year before, about a planning commission thing. And so I could go back and look, and watch that meeting to understand what they were talking about. But I understand we're not going to have that once we transition to YouTube. So at some point, I think we should maybe think about how long we think we should retain our current videos for when we do make that transition to YouTube. I think that's a discussion that we should all start thinking about too. Other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
I had one thing I'm going to bring up at the building committee, but I wanted to talk to you guys about it, just to throw it out there and see what your thoughts are. In the new council chambers, I would like there to be timer clocks, one behind us and one in front of us. So when people are up, they have their 3 minutes. Not saying that we're going to shut them down, but if you start the clock and people see the timer getting down to 3, they'll end their comments typically, and be considerate of all the other speakers. And I just think, going forward, I'm not saying we're shutting people down. I'm not saying that we're not going to give them more than their 3 minutes. But I just think it's a common courtesy for everybody at the meeting. Well, behind the council, so when they're speaking to the council, they see that clock ticking above our head and something in the back that we can see.
A loud buzzer go off.
No, electric.
We're not at the school board.
That's how St. Francis used to be, and it would go off.
Oh no, not use.
I don't want
And
any
they-
Not
alarms.
use.
I don't
Still
want
that way.
I don't want any alarms
see.
or anything like that.
I'm
I
not-
just
well,
want the
even
clock to
there's
tick,
council.
and so they can see
Oh.
how long they've been talking. Because we do get people telling us, we're shutting people down at 3 minutes, and that is not the case here. I don't think I've ever heard Weston shut anybody down.
No.
So, I mean, when the clock's at 10 minutes, I would like them to see that they're at 10 minutes. So, I don't know. What do you
So
guys
you
think?
want it to count up, not down.
Well, however it works.
You mean to go into negative time if I keep talking?
But,
There's a church constance that does that. It's like negative.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Like if it goes past whatever the scheduled time is, but
I don't care whether we have a timer clock or something like that or not. To me, it doesn't matter one way or the other. I don't think we've cut anybody off. I can remember either
Right.
3 minutes. It might help the people out maybe to get their thoughts together a little bit, saying, "Oh, I only got a minute left" or whatever. Might people forget too if you get a busy night and if you had a night where you get 30 people talking like
Right.
planning and zoning has had. Really, the lawn council meetings running till 1 o'clock in the morning.
And that's when you can say, please be considerate of the other people in line. But I just think it's something that we should do. And if you guys are in disagreement, then I'll just sort of drop it. Won't bring it up at the building committee, but it's one of those soft costs
Matter
that we
be
would.
one way or the other.
I like the idea, John, and I like the idea too that it's not like a buzzer going.
Right,
You know
no.
what I mean? But yet, I actually a couple weeks ago had a call from somebody who said that she does not agree that I cut people off all the time and don't let them talk. And I can't think of a time I've let people ramble on for probably way too long. So it's kind of more that subtle, we're not shutting you down, but, if nothing else, we're actually spending more time.
Right. It's just a reminder to people, that's all.
Right.
Remember to be courteous.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Anything else?
No, that's all I had.
I actually don't really have much outside of I appreciate your thoughts there, Angie. It wasn't anything intentional to try to, upset you or anything. I know that some things all of us get a little over passionate about, and that's not always a bad thing. I had actually hoped, which I'm sure everyone else is, that you were here. And I know things happen, I get it, because I didn't want it to look like that's what was happening. But, we have a new acting mayor, which I think is good. Paul, I'd kind of forgot until I thought about it for a while. And I don't know if any of you guys remember, but I convinced Paul to give it up a few years ago because I felt that you'd never been on the planning commission or the park commission, so it was just a great learning opportunity. And I was reminding myself, I'm like, Paul even says when he's done here, he wants to go back to the planning commission. So I just felt it was time
Maybe
to
we Brad.
give everybody an opportunity. And it wasn't like I was trying to stick you with the Upper Rum River, because you don't have to be the treasurer, right?
Right.
It was just more or less changing it up, because even myself, that's probably the area that I know the least in of all the stuff that we do here. I used to think, what's it called again?
The Upper Rum River?
No, what's the name?
What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean?
What's the name?
The watershed?
No. I always thought it was a
WMO?
guy, but it's not even a person.
Oh, Bowser. Bowser.
It's a person.
Yeah.
I did too for the first couple of meetings. Who's this Bowser guy?
But I like what John said. I truly felt that this is something that Mike, we all know, is passionate about the parks, and he has a scheduling conflict with Lake George, which he lives on. It's in our city. He should be a part of that. I know he's passionate about that. I like the law enforcement stuff. And for you, it was like, I just felt like it was like right up your items of interest, that it's public safety and it's the school. And so I hope it didn't look like it was like we were trying to do something, because I think it actually, maybe the timing felt weird, but you do it at the beginning of the year, so what do you do?
Right.
And I thought that the fire would be a great opportunity for you to learn something different.
Yes.
And I had a lot already, and so I can go to 2 things, and you can have a couple things. You have Rob there with you as a mentor, so it's just, again, really good information. I think I've gained a lot from it, just how things work and understanding that side of the business from doing it. So I think you'll get something out of it too.
And I was going to tell you, if it would have been a Ford, you wouldn't have been stranded. You would have been here. But I didn't mention that in the minutes.
It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with somebody put the wrong battery in at the body shop.
Oh.
Yes.
Shoot.
It had nothing to
I
do
was hoping
with
it had something to do
Nope,
with Jeep.
it had nothing to do with Jeep. Somebody put the wrong battery in. And like, I'm just going to tell you, when Lauren called me when I was driving back from dropping my Jeep off at the dealer, he shared with me what happened in the meeting, and I expressed how I felt. But then the next day when I watched it, it all made sense to me, so I didn't take the ill feeling that I had.
When I saw it on Facebook,
That
it looked like
night.
you taking ill feeling.
No,
I certainly took it that way.
No.
And the responses you got.
I didn't feel that way
silencing
about
you and things like that.
I spoke positive about it.
Lori?
Well, it'll be good. It'll be good for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I enjoyed the other night, so thank you, you guys.
And it's free dinner.
Yeah,
You got dinner?
I didn't have to.
They didn't
cook,
tell me
yeah.
that.
That's why I went.
Yeah, that's what Rob said.
I'm
you
sure
loved
he
the
did.
dinner.
Oh, you never once told us you got dinners.
Yeah, and I don't have to drive down there either.
No, you
I get a
can ride with
chauffeur.
Nice. Was it in a red truck?
Yeah,
It's better than the JLEC one. You don't get food, and you have to take time off work because it's during the day.
Yeah, yeah. Except it was cold, but besides that.
Which reminds me, Wednesday I have the quarterly JLEC meeting for those who are interested in knowing that. So, all right, our next regular scheduled meeting will be Monday, February 9th at 6 p.m. That again, like Lauren mentioned, is Meet the Deputy Day. So hopefully people will be here to meet the deputies. So I look for a motion to close this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second it.
Motion by Councilmember Bray Johnson, second by Councilmember Wiley. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
4-1. John would
Safe
like
trip.
to stay longer.
John.